Hey guys, Bullshooter here. So, I found the Mandela catalog, which, going back, is basically, well, actually, that's not basically, the Macabre stuff is basically creepypasta meets the Mandela catalog. If you don't remember, the Macabre was basically just creepypastas, but of course there was the Smiler. Um, Yeah, now that I look at the Mandela catalog, it is straight ripped from them. The Mandela catalog actually goes over, I think, a portion of that, which was basically there is, in the beginning, just a government wide um, alert where there would be um, what they call alternates, which is basically doppelgangers slash just skinwalkers and all that. Basically, they basically look like a human, but due to certain features, you'd know that they're not normal. Um, it was basically there's the type 1, which is the double gainer, which is basically just you, like they try to replicate you. Um, and it's basically you just with a few different things. Like this one, it was a guy who just had a little bit of a bigger neck than is normal. And then there was a woman with like a little bit of a wider face. Um, anyways, and then there was type 3. There was one that was faceless, and then there was the Smiler, which is basically just a shadow figure with teeth and wide eyes. There was Type 2, but we'll get to Type 2. Type 2 is known as the Detectable, but I already have a good idea about this one. So, anyways, um, alternates, from what I can grasp, basically it is like a Skinwalker is a pretty good idea for it. Basically, they find a certain person, they start to replicate their mannerisms. They have like a doughy kind of exterior, like it doesn't like their skin doesn't act like dough, but they can technically morph their face into anyone's they want, and basically they try to just like look at a mirror, which is basically the person, and try to match it as best they can, and they can even replicate things like walkie talkies and all that. That way, they like can get on a almost perfect match, and they basically try to get into the mentality, the speech, basically just trying to take the person's life. Um, and one of the biggest things is they say is there can't be two of us in reality. So basically, they go replicate your entire life and kill you to be you. Um, but that's basically the entire series. Is people are on lockdown. You can't leave your house. You have to make sure everything's locked. If they somehow get in, you basically got to make sure you try to not interact with them because they can replicate loved ones and people that can start giving you a mentally breakdown, and that's how they get you. Is fear, and your mind starts to break. Um, the only bad thing is in several counties they've been taught. Else than the main 3911, which is fire, medical, and police work, they have a fourth one for certain counties in this world, like the Mandela, I think it is, county, which is the main one. There is the encounter 911 call, which is basically someone who's encountering an alternate, is to basically keep them on the line, keep them calm. It gives them a higher chance at surviving. But of course, if they don't survive, the second they stop answering questions is when you can hang up. But you're supposed to basically tell the police that it's okay to mark that person as an alternate. That means this person is dead. That means they've been replicated. And that's basically what it is. Just you can't save them. They can survive, but you can't save them at that point. You gotta just let them die and mark them as an alternate. And just warn everyone that this is now an alternate. If you see them, be extremely cautious around them. Guns, even though they say you can use them, it doesn't work, actually. I think they have a think process, which basically just says go through the normal, like, emergency stuff, try to hinder them, try to stop them from killing you, but of course, in the end, the only thing you can do is take your own life. And that's how you save yourself from a horror or even worse fate. And it just saves them the time. But, I think that kind of goes over most of them. There is another one, which is like this, it's another type that it doesn't go over, but it's the creation of the alternates. Basically, through the TV, there's a guy, I forgot his name, but basically it's two eyes and just a squiggly mouth. I think it's Stanley. Stanley, basically, kids will be viewed of this show known as The Might of the Subconscious, which basically Stanley talks you through making a brand new friend, an imaginary friend, and basically that's how an alternate is made, is visualize this person in your head, and I will create them based on what's in your head, and it's in your house now. And also, they can take kids via the TV static. One of the emergency things they go over is, hey, if your baby is crying, wait until they stop crying, then enter the room. One of the big people that had the bad end of the stick was a mother. She called the ex-husband over that was the father of the child. But of course, when they actually went to go into the room after it was done crying, it was already gone, and the TV showed a disfigured man that basically scared the crap out of the kid to make them cry. It's just a lure to get the parents into the room so they can meet the same fate or be a match for the alternate. Which, if the baby is the most comfortable around the parent, so an alternate is gonna most likely match a parent. But anyways, I'm trying to remember all the stories. Because I'm running out of time. I gotta go to work. But basically, that's how alternates work. That's how the Smiler works. We have Mark and Caesar, which is the very first story that happens in the timeline. Which is basically Mark is a religious person. He starts to see things get in his house, sound like people he cares about, but they're so badly replicated as an alternate that they kind of sound like a radio speech, like it breaks up when they're talking. So he records them, has video evidence, audio evidence, and they start making him. They just drive him mad. I believe it was two things: either that his friend was killed with his mom, and an alternate made it up for him. That way, his friend would come over, set up the recording, but because of his time taking there, there was an alternate ready to follow him home and just drive him insane in his room. Eventually, the alternate would get in, but it would take so much fear into him that he'd take his own life. But of course, it also, one of the bigger points of that entire series is that Mark, eventually, he's very religious, so he's praying to God every day, hoping evil can be strewn away from him. But eventually, when it drives him almost insane, he wonders who he's been praying to, which we'll get to in a second. After that, we get the cop story, which is basically two officers are just promoted I forgot their names. Uh, Basically, one doesn't care to do this. The since she's promoted, she doesn't worry about the little work. Where the lieutenant doesn't. He actually cares about his job and wants to do by, and he's the one who has to go in. The school calls for Mark. He goes to discover that he's unalived himself, and he finds all the notes, all the evidence. He learns about the alternates, makes it a well-known fact, and to start making it a problem that needs to be solved, or the best of the ability of people. And then we had the mother that ends up, getting so stressed over her baby that she unalives herself. He goes to, well, the ex-husband calls 911 for it, and of course it's an alternate encounter, but it, unlike the others, it's the man from the screen or some other powers that isn't a relative or a loved one of him. And in the end, all that family's dead. The female officer, which I believe is the head or captain or whatever, goes in there, lures the lieutenant in, and basically the lieutenant gets an alternate of him made, and he gets followed back to the station. He tries to communicate with everyone else, but no, everyone else is offline. And the other county that he does get a hold of all immediately understands it's an alternate attack, but since they know it's an actual another officer, they just hang up. But basically, we actually get to see a full-on pre. Oh, an alternate that hasn't been switched up yet. And basically, he starts replicating his face. Just basically, you can hear that he can replicate kids and all that. It doesn't have to be just based on him. It's just to lure them in. Like the TV can replicate a cat. That way, you want to go discover where this cat's coming from. All you have to do is view the TV for him to get you. But eventually, the cop does get replicated, and then there's some like paranormal people that I guess they get outlawed, because, and then they steal a vehicle, which I believe is their biggest point of being wanted. But they contacted to go do a paranormal on a ghost cat. They go to worry about the ghost cat. One person is too scared. I think it's Jonah, and then the other one goes to actually just like look through the house, and he, I guess, lost his sister or his girlfriend or whomever, a female of that he cared closely about, had been lost to an alternate. So he's hunting them down, trying to figure out what he can do against them. Eventually, he gets lured to a previously locked door that leads to a TV that is being controlled by the guy. And a bigger power takes him out and follows Jonah, who has speed off because he knows an alternate was down there in the first place. So he speeds away. But he still gets caught up by the bigger power, which I guess we will go over now because that is the 3 volume of characters that we know so far of. This is a weird one that I didn't see coming, but I understand it almost. Basically, from what I understand, I don't know which one came first because I'm trying to remember. I believe it was Noah who came first. But anyways, becoming biblical now, so if you're not a Christian or someone that cares for Bible stuff, we're going to get into a little conversation here. Basically, Noah, who went to go protect a pair of animals to reproduce on his ark, he indulged in fear, which he was told by an angel not to, which that angel, like God, I think it was God, told him to prepare for the flood, but another angel in this story told him not to feel certain fear and abide by certain rules, but it ended up being Lucifer, Satan, the devil, and basically Noah disregards him and just listens to what God is saying. And for punishment, he makes alternates. And they sneak aboard the ark and just follows Noah wherever he's going. And basically, alternates were there ever since Noah's ark in the Great Flood. Um, and then we see Lucifer again when Jesus is born. Basically, I think it is the angel Gabriel went to go tell Mary and the shepherds of Jesus' birth, but the Lucifer comes back and basically telephones, well, not telephones. He's able to pull off his misdeeds with the shepherds and fool them, and he becomes the new shepherd, the new Messiah, the new savior. And basically, he is a lot more active in this universe. He's the one who actually pulls off constant sins. He actually is like God was helping his followers. Lucifer is making it to where he is making it to where people follow him. And we haven't discovered a cult or anything, but he's the one who made alternates. He's the one who's basically making it to where people are scared to do anything anymore. He's terrifying humanity to its core, basically. And I think that's just his final point, is he wants to get rid of humanity. He probably thinks it's disgusting, like in many universes that have portrayed Lucifer. He hates humanity. He just wants to either contain it and act like an experiment, and that's what's happening. Anyways, I also have a review after I get off work, of course, for Nope. It was amazing. I mean, you gotta kind of like horror and get into it a little bit. But, anyways, that's it for the Mandela catalog. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.